Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience as human beings on this planet. It is fear that determines the way we live our lives. Fear determines the choices we make and the actions we take. I want to share with you what fear really is, why it controls our lives, and how to overcome it. Fear triggers an area of the brain called the amygdala, which is the alarm system that activates the fight, flight, or freeze response. The amygdala sends signals to your body that activates high alert physical responses by releasing the stress hormones cortisol and adrenaline in your body, causing symptoms like a fast heart rate. The amygdala plays a role in emotional reactivity. Sometimes the amygdala can be overactive and detect fears even when there is no actual threat. This is referred to as irrational fears. This is often the case for those of us who experience anxiety. Fear is your body's natural response to protecting you when there is perceived danger. However, we have two choices: to believe that fear and stay where we are, or we can choose courage, which is moving past that fear. What do we gain from choosing courage? It is realizing we have the intentional power to conquer fear. Developing the skills to overcome fear brings you to the other side of fear, which is growth, opportunity, and reward. Fear takes away the opportunity to try new things and limits growth and potential. It limits us from enjoying our lives. Fear of what others might think of us, fear of failure, fear of communicating, fear of expressing your ideas and thoughts, all these fears can impact our choices in life. It is the opinions, the judgments, and what-if thoughts that can take away our joy, peace, and mental health. But I'm here to tell you that it does not have to. You have the power over your own life, and you get to write your own story. Fear is so powerful that it can keep us trapped in our comfort zones and doesn't allow us to reach our full potential. Imagine if we didn't have fear standing in the way. What would we become? How different would our lives look? These are life-changing questions to consider. So, how do we overcome fear? How do you change what your brain is telling you about fear, and how do you move past the fear response? The first step is shifting your focus to thinking about something else other than the fear. This is about staying focused. This can be called a focused thought or vision. Think about a thought that will make you happier and excited. How would you feel after you accomplish what you were afraid of? Realizing that you have control over your thoughts and behaviors is the most powerful belief we can have. The first step in conquering fear is mind shifting our focus to what brings us joy, and this involves interrupting your thoughts. This process activates the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that is responsible for reasoning and rational thinking. The prefrontal cortex helps you make decisions based on logical thinking, whereas the amygdala sends emotional signals like fear to your body. The goal is interrupting old patterns of thinking about fear to new ways of relating what you are afraid of to joy and reward. This important skill for overcoming fear is about creating a vision in your mind of what brings you joy. When we are able to make this powerful mindset shift, we can control what we think and the decisions we make. Let me give you an example. If you are afraid to do that presentation, you may be so nervous and afraid of making a mistake and fear of what others may think. But if you focus on what you will gain from doing this presentation, like expressing your ideas to others and feeling a sense of accomplishment, you have an alternate vision that is not about fear. This tool in imagining an alternate vision is called a focus thought. A focus thought is about having an image in your mind about all the things that will go right and bring you joy. Another example is having the fear of social settings. You get invited to a party and don't want to go because you are fearing that discomfort. By using a focused thought instead of fearing how nervous you will feel, you can picture yourself laughing and connecting with others. Just like we imagine all the things in our minds that can go wrong, this is rewiring our brain to do the opposite and imagine all the things that can go right. Focused thoughts about going to this party can now be about developing new friendships, changing your environment, practicing your social skills, gaining confidence, being your authentic self regardless of opinions, connecting with others about similar interests, and improving your mood. As you can see, these focused thoughts are all about what we can gain when we develop courage to continue to do things despite the fear. The fear shows up, and instead of believing the perceived fear as a fact, we shift our focus to thoughts that will benefit us. Fear of uncertainty and fear of not being good enough are the most common fears that stop us from success in all areas of life. Overcoming fear is about feeling that fear, but being able to move forward with your goals anyways, pushing through and not giving up. Remember that whatever you pay attention to, you will get more of. So I encourage you to go after what matters to you most and what is best for your life. Ask yourself, what story do you want to tell yourself? Conquering fear means having control over the decisions you make, taking those next steps. Achieving our goals means progress and productivity in all areas of life. That includes career, family, lifestyle, and our overall well-being. Making an impact in our own lives and in others. Adding value and focusing on our own personal meaning and going after it. Having a vision of your future that brings you joy and peace. Fear is a strong emotion that can control us, but we have the power to change that. Never give up, change your belief system, and focus on the vision and change the story you tell yourself. The goal is to create a calm nervous system by rewriting your story to move past fear and get excited over what new opportunities can bring. What are effective ways we change the way we think about situations? The first one is writing down what you're afraid of. Are you afraid to take on that new career because you are afraid of failing? Secondly, ask yourself, is the fear you are feeling real or perceived? When we are afraid, we tend to fear all the wrong things that might happen to us, like fear of discomfort, fear of being judged, fear of taking that risk. So I want you to ask yourself, am I imagining these fears or are they real? Are my fears facts? The third step in changing the way we think about fear is rewriting our story about the fear and telling yourself the discomfort, the hard work, and the commitment will be worth it. Let's say you are educating yourself and working hard towards that rewarding career that is going to help you and others. Will you tell yourself it's too hard and you can't do it? Or will you tell yourself you are learning and growing? Building courage to become the best version of yourself is a huge accomplishment. So what is more powerful than fear? It is making progress and staying consistent because we imagine all the good our efforts will bring into our lives. Thank you so much for watching. Keep going, believe in yourself, and become fearless.